Hello and welcome to the Random Wrestling Review. It is our local to global series, and we are on this episode going to enter 2002. That's where we are in our save. Before we get to do that, though, we've got to put on New Year's Bash 2001, which I had started to book in our previous episode. We've already got here that Sharmell Sullivan is announced as the new GM of the Random Wrestling Review, with Bruce Hart taking a step back. We'll go into a little bit more detail on what takes place within that segment when we actually run the show. Then we've got a six-man tag match, which sees the New Rebellion against the Rebellion. It's Billy Kidman, Barry Buchanan, and Rex King against Ace Steel, Chemo, and Phantasma. Now, bear in mind that New Year's Bash is a free show, so we're not going to be putting anything major on this event. Chris Harris is going to be facing C.W. Anderson in one of the matches. We're not going to make it any more than 10 minutes. I think that's fine. A pinfall victory for Chris Harris. We're also going to have tag team contest as TJ Wilson and Teddy Hart. The Calgary Connection will take on Chaz Warrington and Glenn Ruth, the Headbangers. The Headbangers really haven't done very much since coming in other than lose. To be honest, the main reason I brought them in was to populate our Super Summer Tag Team Extravaganza tournament that took place in the summer. I have got some plans beyond that, though, for them. But just at the moment, we're not invoking those plans. And so this one is going to be one. I'm going to give TJ Wilson the victory because he's definitely the lesser of the two, or the less popular of the two, with the less experience of the two. So I think giving him a victory is a good idea. I might even make this a all-out match if we can, just to vary things a bit. So yeah, Calgary Connection versus the Headbangers in the third match of the night. Then we're going to do One Man Gang against Charlie Haas. And we'll make this one 12 minutes. The storytelling match, I think we'll make this one. And we are going to give the win to One Man Gang, which might not be popular amongst our fans, given that Haas, first of all, is the babyface, but also just from a booking perspective, I think critics would have a little bit of an issue with this, as One Man Gang is getting on a little bit, and Charlie Haas has at times appeared to be kind of the next great big hope for this company. But that's what we're going with anyway. One Man Gang is going to get the win. And Steve Lombardi is advising putting One Man Gang in a match of this length because it doesn't have the stamina for it. But we're going with it anyway. We have got a quota of time to fill after all. So we need to make sure that we are within that. And then the main event is going to be the second six-man tag match of the night. It's going to see CM Punk along with Dave Bautista and Buddy Wayne take on Sean Stasiak, Mark Henry, and Darren Drozdov. Pretty much everybody on the roster is going to be involved in a match on this show. We'll make this a slow build six-man tag match, I think. And our winners are going to be our heels, when Sean Stasiak is going to pin Buddy Wayne to win the contest for his team. That didn't add the pinfall finish note, so we'll add that now. And that is it. That's all of New Year's Bash 2001, booked very, very quickly in this latest episode of the show. Who knows, maybe we will have enough time to go for another event before the end of this one. But that's going to be this show. We're all fine in terms of our usual indicators, so let's go straight into it. For a new record crowd of 471 people in the Northwest. So the crowds are really starting to gather for this company now. This obviously was a free show, so it was always going to get more people in. We didn't hold it at the Marshall Center. We've held it somewhere else to kind of make additional room. And we started with this very interesting angle indeed, where basically Sharmell Sullivan is announced as the new general manager of the Random Wrestling Revue. It's explained by Sharmell that Bruce Hart has decided to take a step back from the day-to-day running of the Random Wrestling Revue after everything that's happened over the last year or so and his brutalization at the hands of Dave Bautista at the season's beatings. Bruce Hart has decided he no longer cares to be the public face of the company and instead has instructed his personal assistant, Sharmell Sullivan, to take over as the new running general manager of the Random Wrestling Revue. And she promises to bring fairness back to the company, back to the sporting aspects of the company, and says that the dark days of Bruce Hart getting involved and trying to use his influence to determine results is over. So a segment rating here of 29, which is not bad, given this is Sharmell's first, first experience out in front of our crowd. Not only that, but her gimmick unfortunately got an initial rating of awful, which is not the best. Hopefully that will improve. But yeah, Charmel is in place now as a new general manager, I'm calling her, of the Random Wrestling Revue. So then we have a trios match. It's a 48 rated contest, which sees the Rebellion against the New Rebellion, and the Rebellion win the match when Chemo pins Rex King with a Samoan drop. And all pretty good in-ring performance here, apart from Phantasma, who only did a 32. But Chemo up to a 49, Kidman a 48, Ace Steel a 46, Barry Buchanan a 44. Some really good performances in there, and a really nice way to start off this event. Then we have Chris Harris defeating C.W. Anderson in a regulation fashion, a 10-minute and 5-second match won by pinfall in a 52 rating for this one. And that's largely down to Harris's quality, a 50 rating for him, a 42 for C.W. Anderson. Chris Harris gets another victory as he looks to move up the rankings with a victory here. So next we have the tag team match, which is Calgary Connection against the Headbangers, with the Calgary Connection coming out on top in 13:25 when TJ Wilson pinned Glenn Ruth. And TJ Wilson was only a 30 here. I was hoping he'd go up a little bit. It got a segment rating though of 42, and that is all because of the quality of Teddy Hart, an in-ring performance of 46. Glenn Ruth at 33, Chaz Warrington at 28, and the Calgary Connection get the victory that might prove quite important because they're trying to get themselves another tag team title shot, of course. Then the One Man Gang against Charlie Haas, a match that went 11 minutes 47 and was won by One Man Gang with a 747 splash. A segment rating of 48. One Man Gang did a 37, Charlie Haas just a 46, and One Man Gang was visibly tiring toward the end, but he gets the win against Haas here in another decent contest as we kind of run through a bunch of matches we're putting on really just for this free audience that just have come to sample a little bit of what the Random Wrestling Revue is about. And finally our main event, another 6-man tag match and another rating of 50 as Stasiak, Henry and Drozdov defeat Punk, Batista and Wayne in 14:56. When Sean Stasiak pins Buddy Wayne. Darren Drozdov was the weak link, a 26 rating for him, which is not disastrous, but a little bit lower than the last time we saw him in the ring. But Punk did a 53, Stasiak a 48, he's in great form at the moment. And of course Punk and Stasiak face each other at the next event, which will be for the title. That's announced at the end of this show, is that Punk and Stasiak will face each other in the main event of the next show. And that's because of this, our ranking, CM Punk top of the rankings, of course, as champion, but behind him, Sean Stasiak and Billy Kidman both have 11 points. Stasiak has been chosen as the number one contender, though. We've got C.W. Anderson on 8, Batista on 7, Charlie Haas on 6, Brock Lesnar and T.J. Wilson on 5, Chris Harris, Rex King, Teddy Hart, Chemo, Barry Buchanan on 4, Chaz Warrington on 3, Drozdov, Phantasma, One Man Gang, Glenn Ruth all on 2, Ace Steel on 1, and Mark Henry and Buddy Wayne on 0. But that is, of course, before the event we've just run, so a lot of these guys now have got one more point up on the rankings. And that's the end of the show. An overall rating of 48, not amazing, but with a massive crowd and a very good main event, a very good Chris Harris versus C.W. Anderson match. In general, can't argue with that. Pretty happy. We'll give Chris Harris a compliment, we'll give CM Punk a compliment, and then I think we want to give Sean Stasiak a compliment too. For his performance in this one. There we go. Make speech. So everyone pleased, or seemed pleased, and that is the end of the event. And that is the end of 2001. We go into 2002 now. The game's processing all of the end of year stuff. And yeah, as I said already, that we know what the main event of our next show is going to be. CM Punk versus Sean Stasiak for the Northwest title. That's going to be an interesting one. Obviously, both wrestlers have been around a long time. Let's have a look at what we've got to have a look at here. A few different bits and pieces I want to take a look at first. First of all, let's deal with our company, and then we'll go to some of the more general stuff. Financially, we lost $2,000 last month. Now, that is a shame and a clear indication to me that I need to slow down in terms of my improvement of the production values. You can see here, we increased our spending on production by $7,000 in December, which is a heck of a lot of money to increase the production values by. Saying that, some of that was due to the one-off setup costs that we had to pay in order to get to that level of production. On top of that, we didn't obviously sell any tickets for the second show of the month, and had we done that, we would have still been in profit. The sponsorship still went up, and I think ticket sales will stay at this level of 6,600 whilst we are selling out the Marshall Centre. In fact, we might even increase the prices, shall we, for our events going forward whilst we're still selling out the Marshall Centre. That might be an idea to pay for some of that stuff. What that's meant is, for the moment, we've got the size of 29. For the moment, we're going to hold off on getting television for this company until I feel like we're on more sure financial footing. I don't think it'll take long, because even though we're not making huge sums of money, the wrestling industry and the economy are both on the rise at the moment. So I can only assume sponsorship, ticket sales, and all the like will continue to rise. And not only that, but in January, of course, we will run 2 shows in which we are charging money to enter, and therefore we could see a lot more of a profit than we did in December. Now, in terms of top 100s, that last event of the year was down here, 14th best show of all time, with 48 rating. And the top 100 matches, we did see a new entry into the top 20, Chris Harris versus C.W. Anderson. In 16th place, Chris Harris is obviously very, very good indeed. In terms of attendances, though, that was our very best. 471 for New Year's Bash, the free show that we've been putting on for a while now. And that's a big boost to us as well. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest of the world then, starting with Starrcade 2001, WCW's annual WrestleMania equivalent. Scott Hall beat Randy Savage and Arn Anderson to retain the world title in the main event. So that, to me, says they still have not got any new big stars to take the spot at the top of the company. With the fact that these three are the three that are in the main event of their world title match. It was a 72 rated match, and they got a 72 rated show rating with 30,000 on hand to watch. But in general, this is not the best. This is not the best for them. And look at the roster underneath: Ricky Morton, Brad Armstrong, AC Connor, that's D'Lo Brown, Rico Suave, Bobby Eaton, Hugh Morris, IRS, Raven, he's a pretty decent wrestler. Mo of Men on a Mission and JC Ice, Mascarita Sagrada and El Profe, or El Prof, Ray and 911, that's Ray Gonzalez and 911, Paul Roma, Road Dogg, Jesus Castilla Jr., Mabel, Big Boss Man, Disco Inferno, and the Barrio Brothers, who are Fidel Sierra and Glenn Gilberto, is it? Or is it Ricky Santana. Glenn Gilberto is Disco Inferno. Chris Kanyon, Tracy Smothers. Just in general, they do not have a decent roster at all. They are still managing to get 72 rated events, but I can only assume that this year has been another year in which their size is dropping. Track progress. Not massively, actually. I mean, it has. Look at this. So in the Midwest, New England, Northwest, Southwest, it has, and Puerto Rico is completely dropped off. I assume they've not got TV coverage in those areas of the game world anymore. So that is super significant. In particular, the Northwest. Our own company are more popular than WCW. The Random Wrestling Revue is more popular in the Northwest than WCW. Let me just see what the rest of the world. So Canada's stayed steady, presumably because they got full coverage there, and Mexico. British Isles, though, that's about stayed where it was as well. Dropped a tiny bit. Japan, not really existent, nor is it in Europe or Oceania or India. Let me just go back to America. So where they have retained TV coverage, they've dropped a point or two of popularity as well. So WCW are in huge difficulty at the moment. We continue to watch the downfall of this company, although they still have $88 million. They need to get and spend some of that and bring in some new talent. That's what they desperately need to do. So that's Starrcade. Now it's time for the year-end awards, beginning with Wrestler of the Year, which has gone to Bret Hart. For the third time, Bret Hart wins Wrestler of the Year. Company of the Year is the World Wrestling Federation. Unsurprisingly, they've won it yet again. Team of the Year was Two Dudes with Attitude. Shawn Michaels and Kevin Nash have won that one now 4 times, and all in a row, I think. Match of the year was Undertaker and Owen Hart against the Midnight Stars on Monday Night Raw in August. Can we click on any of this to see it? Let's see if we can go and find that show. View profile events. No, not that one. Show history. So we need to go back to August for this match. In not that one. Not that one. It's got to be coming up. Undertaker and Owen Hart against the Midnight Stars, a 100 rated match. The Midnight Stars being Dustin Rhodes and Tony Norris. So that was the match of the year. Owen Hart and The Undertaker against Dustin Rhodes and Tony Norris. Goodness knows why those two teams. Well, goodness knows why Owen Hart and The Undertaker are teamed together. But they, they were part of match of the year there. Show of the year was the September In Your House, which again I can't click on and probably should have checked out before I came back. So let's do exactly the same thing again, but this time not that one, this one. A 97 rated show with Owen Hart versus Rey Mysterio Jr. in a WWE World Heavyweight Title ladder match main event. Plus Bret Hart and The Undertaker against Dean Douglas and Steve Austin. Shawn Michaels against Lex Luger. And the Midnight Stars against Road Warrior Animal and Al Snow. Pretty stacked with a 100 rated match, a 99 rated match, a 98 rated match between Diesel and Brian Pillman, 95 interview segment with Shawn Michaels. Big Show against Radford did 89 in the ring. Michaels and Luger was a 90. That's your show of the year. So, on to Young Wrestler of the Year, and that goes to Pero Aguayo, the 22-year-old. I think he won that last year, possibly, or at least won it the half year, I think, probably, actually, is what I'm thinking of. Veteran Wrestler of the Year has gone to Lex Luger, who has kind of had a kind of rejuvenized career in WWF since signing for them. Female Wrestler of the Year goes to Kyoko Inui. Most Improved Company of the Year goes to CWA. Now, we won this last year, so I'm a little bit, bitter about losing this award this year round. CWA have risen the best apparently over the course of the year. Let's just have a look at their size. Yes, they've gone from 10 to 18 in Central Europe, and they must have been running since the beginning of the game, and then had a change perhaps in ownership or something. That has turned them into something worthwhile again, because they were obviously very low in popularity at one point. Just seeing if there is an obvious moment here where they came to life. It doesn't look like it. I can't see anything significant, and we're going back to the previous year now, so I don't think. Maybe I was wrong. I thought they must have got a new owner or something come in at a certain point, or a new booker or whatever, and he's turned things around. But as it is, I can't see that at the moment. But whatever the case, CWA are the Most Improved Company of the Year. Independent Wrestler of the Year is Jeff Jarrett, working in a lot of different places. WWF, USWA, WWC, having a very good career of it. Manager of the Year is Victor Quinones, and then Announcer of the Year is Jim Ross. Color Commentator of the Year is Hugo Savinovich. Referee of the Year is Charles Robinson. So we were not amongst the awards this year as we had been in previous years, but still been a good 2001 for us. The Colony has formed, which is The Undertaker, Dean Douglas, Buff Bagwell, Sean Morley, and Steven Regal. So that's a new group in the WWF, and they've just come together, and could be a problem going forward. Let's have a look at the company awards, because WCW is still in second place for some reason, even though they are in a terrible position at the moment. We are 21st. I think we might have climbed above NWA Wildside, and we're above CWA as well, who are still running shows. AAA is insignificant. OVW, have they done anything since Linda McMahon's come in? There's still zero size, but they have done 3 events. Their most recent one that they did was Charlie Norris winning the TV title from Ian Rotten in the main event, and Just Incredible defending or winning the OVW heavyweight title from our favourite James Storm, who I assume is still with OVW. So Linda McMahon has started putting on shows, but they haven't yet. It hasn't yet kind of turned into or translated into any significant successes for them. The UWA are a big company. They have won. They've had another match where Mr. Perfect's defended his UWA World Heavyweight title in the main event. He continues to do that. So company wars going okay for us. We are number one. We're not number one. We're number 21. We are well below these guys, but some interesting stuff at the top end of the company wars. And we're into 2002, which feels crazy to me. We have to set up our next event. I've not got a name for it, although I did, didn't note down some of the suggestions from ChatGPT, so I'm probably just going to use one of those. You remember I had a look at this uh, a few a few episodes ago to get me some name suggestions, and we're going to go with RWR Ascension, if I can spell it right. Is that how you spell Ascension? Ascece. I knew I was missing something. Ascension, and that's an S. That's more like it. We're going to keep the hour and a half because we said we would raise it to 2 hours once we got TV. Once we got TV deal, but we haven't yet done that, so we're not going to do that yet. Availability. So everybody's available Monday, week 2 of this next week. So that is in as our next show. And I put it as an annual when I meant to put it as special. So that's been changed. So RWR Ascension will happen in 8 days' time. Let's progress to that point now. Sharma Sullivan's not going to be a manager. We're just going to make her a personality. Can we do that? Yeah, on-screen. We can't make her as an on-screen personality. That's ridiculous. Okay, well, we'll have to keep her as a... Well, no, we don't want to keep getting that thing, that note. So, yeah, okay. Hopefully she can still perform. But, yeah, Charmel Sullivan, not a manager, not in our company anyway. So, we're going to go to the next player-controlled show, which will be Ascension. And I have noted down a full card of action for this event. And as I said before, CM Punk will take on Sean Stasiak in the main event. We are also going to see tag team title action as Red Alert will defend against the former champions Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan, who of course beat them not too long ago for those belts. And we're going to see one or two other matches as well on top of that for this first show of the new year. Now, as I said, January is going to be a month where we assess once again our suitability to go to television, because that's really the big goal at the moment, is getting ourselves on TV, and we need to do that because it's how we will expand our audience outside of the Northwest and really start to see some growth for this company. Whilst we're waiting for the game to tick over, just a thank you from me, really, for continuing to watch along with this series and watch this particular episode. If you've enjoyed it today, please give it a like. It's always really nice to see as many likes as we can possibly get, and also give us a follow if you're not already following. Subscribe to the channel to continue to follow along with this series, which is set to go for a very long time yet. As I said, we're very much on the road to 100 episodes for now, but I do expect this series to keep going well beyond that as well, and into the future of this save. So we are at the point where Ascension is about to happen. We will check the news to see if anything has come through which is notable or interesting to us. We're hoping that there's nothing affects... Oh, hang on. Wait a minute. The game is continuing beyond that Monday. This is a concern. We're just going to wait for the program to respond. What have I done wrong here? Oh, we put it as Tuesday week 2. We made a mistake. We cannot run a show on Tuesday week 2 because Chemo and Steve Lombardi are not available to us. Do we need Chemo? I think I might be okay with not having Chemo here. Yeah, I think we're going to be okay. But we need Steve Lombardi. He's our booker. He's our road agent. So we're going to make this Monday week 3. So, apologies for that. But that is a problem. Yeah, we're going to make it Monday week 3 where we have a full roster available. And then we'll do the other one on maybe Sunday week 4, actually, given that that's also got a free week. So let's go to the following week and wait a little bit longer. Yeah, I obviously clicked Tuesday rather than Monday, which I've done a few times before, but I've noticed it. But this time, I clearly did not notice it. What is the wrestling world going to hold in this save beyond this moment? Because the mod that I was using started in September, I think it was, of 1995. And we're quite a long way away now from September 1995. I mean, we're coming up on 7 years when we get to September 2002. And you just wonder whether or not the game will continue to add new wrestlers to it, to the universe. I mean, maybe we don't need that to continue to run a successful show. I mean, that would be my biggest concern actually about this series is how long can it realistically go based on how detailed the mod is beyond, you know, into the future. So we'll have to wait and see in that respect. We've got no news for ourselves, at least, which is good. Undertaker's got a new storyline going head to head with Goldust. Okay. So it's time for Ascension. Everybody's available for this one. And we have a backstage incident, and it's Mark Henry, so it's going to be positive. He entertained the locker room by organising a poker tournament. Mark Henry, very much the good guy backstage, if not in front of the cameras. So we're ready for Ascension, and we have got a number of matches to bring you, starting up with this one, which will be to work the crowd. Dave Bautista and Buddy Wayne going up against Mark Henry and Darren Drozdov. Bit of a hangover, I guess, from the previous month where we had the six-man tag match, and a continuation of Buddy Wayne and Darren Drozdov's feud. This one can go 12 minutes, but as I said, work the crowd, give them something to enjoy. And what's going to happen here? I think we're going to have... I don't know what the result of this match is going to be, or whether it even matters, to be honest. I guess we're trying to continue Buddy Wayne and Darren Drozdov's feud. Maybe Drozdov should get a win here. He hasn't had many wins since he's come into the company. They did win the six-man tag match, though, at New Year Bash. What's the makeup of the rest of the show in terms of baby faces and heels? I think we're going to have the heels win this one. So I'm going to give it to Mark Henry. He's going to pin Buddy Wayne. And we'll have it be a tainted win. Now, next up, we've got Chris Harris against Chaz Warrington. This is a bit of a nothingy match, just one to give Harris another bit of enhancement, really. I'm going to have it as a decisive win for Harris. And after the match, Chris Harris is going to cut a promo, effectively severing his ties with Bruce Hart, but in a not babyface kind of way, or indeed one that could turn him babyface in the future. He just says that he's done with the Harts and their games. He's all about himself from now on. So nothing too babyface from Chris Harris here, just a way for him to be officially, not worried about the Hearts, and has his sets. God, I can't even can't even say it. He has his mindset on, his own success and the Northwest title, getting that belt back for himself. The next contest is going to be Ace Steel versus Rex King in a continuation of the Rebellion against Rebellion stuff. And I think Ace Steel is going to win this one. We'll make this the storytelling match. A pinfall victory for Ace Steel. Rex King's unhappy. Let's keep him strong. And we're good to go. Then we have the tag team title match. So Charlie Haas and C.W. Anderson back up against Billy Kidman and Barry Buchanan, now former tag team champions, of course. And this one can be 14 minutes. The winner is going to be... We're going to have C.W. Anderson, I think, win this one. Barry Buchanan will lose it. And it's going to be due to outside interference. And it's going to be Phantasma who costs Buchanan the match. So Red Alert hold on to the Northwest Tag Team titles as the feud between the Rebellion and the New Rebellion continues on, and Red Alert come out with the title still. And then the main event, it's a quite big one. CM Punk versus Shawn Stasiak. Now, as I said, it's a big one for a number of reasons. Let's have a look at their match history. Going all the way back to 1999, they did fight each other twice in the summer of 99, and Punk won both matches. Since then, they've not had a single singles match against one another. They've been on opposite sides of the ring in tag encounters in the past, but this is the first one where uh, they, yeah, this is the first one where they will be facing one another for nearly 3 years. We'll make it 15 minutes. I'm not going to do it slow build though. I want to see if these two can go. I'm going to leave that for a minute. I'm going to come back and book the rest of that match. Before that match, we're going to have an angle, and it is going to see Mark Henry come out with Chris Harris, but then Sharmell Sullivan tell Mark Henry or order Mark Henry to go to the back. So Sharmell Sullivan bans Mark Henry from ringside for tonight's main event. Just make it 4 minutes. But Sharmell Sullivan kind of proving what she said last month, which is that she's going to be about fair play and ensuring that things get back to a just, way of going than unlike they've been for a long time with Bruce Hart in charge. And I think we're going to leave it there. I'm going to just quickly make sure we book that CM Punk wins this match. So CM Punk is going to win it, but he's going to win it in a specific way that I'll talk about on the next show. But CM Punk defending the Northwest title here against Shawn Stasiak. I think we're all ready to go. Yep. So as I said, well, we will actually run the show in our next episode. But for the time being, thank you very much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time.